We continue to cover the rise in anti-democratic efforts by Republican officials in states across the country. We did so yesterday with that absolutely crazy story out of North Carolina where it appears Republicans or someone has launched a judicial commission investigation which may call for the removal of the sole black female justice on the state Supreme Court because she was caught speaking about the lack of diversity in the court system in an interview when she was asked about it. Well, tonight we got another one of those stories, and this one is out of Wisconsin, about Republicans stopping at nothing to just get rid of state judges they don't like. In April, Wisconsin held a high-stakes election for an open state Supreme Court seat, a seat that would determine if conservatives maintain control of that ultra-important high court. We covered it on the show. It got a lot of national attention. Justices in Wisconsin don't actually run on partisan lines, not DNR, but back in April, there was a clear liberal and a conservative candidate. So Democrats, and Republicans too, right, saw it as a race with the fate of the court up for grabs. Democrats saw an opportunity to flip the court for the first time in 15 years, and it wasn't even close.
NBC News has projected a result in the very important Wisconsin Supreme Court election tonight. Janet Protasiewicz is the more liberal of the two candidates. Dan Kelly, the more conservative of the two candidates. This is considered broadly to be the most important election in the country, the most consequential election in the country in the year 2023. As you see with these elections here, the projected winner is Janet Protasiewicz.
So the more liberal justice, Janet Protasiewicz, won by a whopping 11 points. The conservative got absolutely crushed, and he was not very happy about it.
I wish that in a circumstance like this, I would be able to concede to a worthy opponent. But I do not have a worthy opponent to which I can concede. My opponent is a serial liar. She's disregarded judicial ethics. She's demeaned the judiciary with her behavior.
Really one of the nastiest concession speeches I've ever seen. Hard to imagine that guy didn't win over the voters of Wisconsin. But apart from the utter lack of decorum, Republicans were sulking. Because here's the thing. Wisconsin, its state legislature, is one of the most gerrymandered states in the country. It's a 50-50 state, right? We know that. Right down the middle. Statewide elections have been won by Democrats, governor right now, the attorney general. But the state legislature, because of the maps they themselves have drawn, has supermajorities in both houses under Republican control because of those maps. Their entire power in the state rests on that, rests on those maps. Now, the existential threat to that power would be if the state Supreme Court in Wisconsin found those gerryed maps to be unconstitutional under state law. Now, that is a real possibility with the new 4-3 majority and new lawsuits challenging the gerrymandered maps. And so before she's even heard a single case in the state Supreme Court, Republican lawmakers, the ones who gerrymander those maps, right, are now talking about impeaching Janet Protasiewicz and removing her from office. And here's the thing, they might very well have the votes to do it. Ruth Conniff is editor-in-chief of the Wisconsin Examiner and has been reporting on this, and she joins me now. Ruth, this is really something. So first, just tell us, what is the status? My understanding is these maps were challenged, and the old 4-3 court with the conservative majority said they're fine. Is that right?
Well, yes, the old majority. I mean, it goes back further than that. When Republicans controlled not just both houses of the legislature, but also the governor's mansion under Scott Walker, they gerrymandered the maps in 2010 after that census, and they made this incredibly Republican favoring setup in a back room, in a map that was challenged repeatedly in court, hidden from the public, very much all Republicans rigging it for themselves. And then in the next census, there was a new round of maps, and our state Supreme Court, then conservative majority of our state Supreme Court, made a rule that it had to be the least change possible from the gerrymandered map. So they threw out the prospective maps made by a nonpartisan commission that could have been, fair maps, and they insisted on this least change standard. And so we have maps that are once again pretty much the same gerrymandering. And
that there is a lawsuit now, right? This is going to come back to the state Supreme Court where there's a colorable
Yes.
claim, and in the past other justices have found that it violates the state constitution.
Yeah, I mean, it's been an issue for years that we don't have fair maps. I mean, the clearest illustration of how unfair they are was in the 2018 election when Governor Evers, a Democrat, was elected, and Democrats won every single statewide race that year. And yet, in the Assembly, Democrats were only able to win 36 out of 99 seats. So you can, the skew is overwhelming. People voted by many more points than half
wild.
for Democrats, and yet they couldn't pick up, more than a third of seats. So yeah, it's very gerrymandered. There's no question about that. And the fact that they're accusing Protasewicz of somehow being corrupt for having said what everyone knows, which is that the maps are rigged. A federal judge has said it. It's, a standard line in AP News stories. Robin Vos, the head of our assembly, who's now threatening to impeach her, has admitted it himself. This is just a fact. It's just factually, demonstrable that the maps are rigged.
Yeah, if you have an election like 2018 where you win a bunch of statewide races, and in that same election, with that state voter base who votes for a bunch of Democrats statewide, turns into a 2-to-1 majority in one house, Right. So this is the thing, though. This is existential for them, right? Because this is how they have their power. So they are now talking about publicly impeaching her before she even does anything or rules, right? Am I right about that?
Right. Yes, you're right. You're right about that. Robin Vos, who is the Speaker of the Assembly, has said that they're going to seriously consider impeaching her. And the issue that they want to impeach her on is that it was unfair for her during her campaign to say plainly that she thought the maps were rigged, that she described that was somehow prejudging a case. Of course, there was no case at that time. So even that is kind of silly. But the thing is, it's a constitutional crisis in Wisconsin because there are recusal rules in the state Supreme Court. And the recusal rules are weak because the then conservative majority made them that way. In 2017, they rejected an effort to say that judges should be forced to recuse if they had their own donors in front of them. They said, no, we're not going that far. In fact, we're going to let judges decide whether or not to recuse in every case, including the Supreme Court justices.
Wow.
So there's no basis for this. And it's really a lot of talking points and a lot of drama, but there's no actual law behind it.
I mean, they may go ahead with this. The only sort of hope again here is that there's actual public opinion backlash if they do, which I think there will be. I mean, so we're gonna keep our eyes on this one. It's not gonna go under the radar if they actually try to pull this off. Ruth Conniff, thanks so much for joining us. Say your last word. Go ahead.
Well, it's just that they could procedurally delay her. If they impeach but don't convict, she can't act. And so then that sets up this dilemma where she's kind of sidelined before the 2024 election on this issue. And so the issue there is Evers could reappoint. She could quit. Somebody else could step in. And so that is going to unfold, and that's going to be very interesting.